Hi, this is Chad. I wanted to go over the next assignment, which was the 2-point perspective drawing. So this is kind of similar to the 1-point, and it's really fantastic for drawing and drawing realism and understanding how things get placed in perspective. So the first bit, there's 2 parts really, is to create a practice drawing showing 9 cubes. So this part is going to be part 1. Oh, I'm going to have to take care of that. And then this next part, let me just switch over to a mechanical. And this next part is, so part 1, and then this one is part 2. Part 1 is just practicing 2-point perspective, drawing 9 cubes. So let's talk about how we do that. Oh, here's a good pencil that I wanted. So on this one, we're going to have a horizon line, or kind of a perspective line. This is where where we're looking, and we're going to put 2 marks on it. So this is where the 2-point comes in. Check to see if you can see that. Yeah, okay. So vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2, and on the sheet it says we need to draw 3 cubes beneath the horizon line, and 3 cubes above it, and then 3 cubes on it. So this one, instead of drawing it straight on like a 1-point, we're going to draw the angle that's closest to you, or the side of the cube. So I'm going to put in just 3 vertical lines here. So these are my 3 cubes. And so we'll start with cube number 1. And what we do is we'll draw construction lines from the endpoints of our line to the vanishing point, to each vanishing point. So I'm not going to draw all the way there, although I'm lined up, because I'm going to draw another vertical right here to show the edge of this plane. And then from the endpoints of this first line again, I'll make some lines to the other vanishing point. And now I'll draw my vertical lines, making sure everything is straight and making sense. Okay, so this is, I'm looking for, okay, here's my eraser. So this is my cube, or could be a little more rectangular cubes. Say, definition of a cube is that there's each of the 6 sides is a square, but this isn't necessarily the case for these. So this is number 1. You get the idea. I'll do one more. I'm going from the endpoints of this line that I drew. In fact, I'm going to move this up a little bit, so just to make some change, some interest, and you can kind of see what happens. So, but these first ones cross the line, or they're over the line, right? I should connect that. Sorry about my head getting in the way. I know it did in the last video. Okay, so this is the idea with cubes or boxes sitting on the line, and this relates directly to what am I trying to say? Still life. So yeah, so if we were drawing a still life of a box in front of us, and our eye level is, yeah, let me put this eye level is in the middle of the box, and we can't see the top and we can't see the bottom. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to be somewhat angled on the top, and it's going to be somewhat angled on the bottom. Okay. If we have a box that is above our eye level, this is what it's going to look like. And yeah, this relates completely and directly to still life, which we're going to start doing very, very shortly. Okay, so not done yet. We're going to put in some lines here, and maybe we'll make this kind of a narrow box, which is great. That's fine. Okay. So not done. Now we have a new intersection here. We need to show this bottom face, this bottom plane of the box. So, and then this here. And sometimes when we draw this in still life, we don't actually see the bottom because it might be stacked on something. But just so you know what goes on, this is what's happening. Yeah, these are the shapes that's going on. If the box is above our eye level, this is what goes on. If it's all glass, it would look, we'd see all the edges and the planes. Normally we don't, but you do get the idea. Just draw this. Yeah, actually this would go all the way down and connect with this. It doesn't match up exactly because not all of these angles match up exactly, but it's close enough. You get the idea. And if we see any boxes that are below our eye level, and I'll make this one longer and flatter. And we can even play around with this one a little bit. And remember, the assignment is to do 3 above, 3 crossing the line, and 3 beneath the line. Okay, and then we'll draw some verticals. Okay, and then now that we have that point, we can make this other line. We couldn't make this line until we knew that point, which is actually where those cross. And oops, why did I miss that? Okay. Now, if we kind of wanted to bring this into kind of reality a little bit, we might, or we could take and make this a kind of an open box or an open crate of some kind. And now, because it's open, now we can see inside it, and we can make a vertical going down here. Now, do we see the base of this box? Well, we don't know, because if this had a thickness, it might come down to here. Yeah, so you can see that if I were to draw this line, it would hit this vertical right in here. So if the box were a little bit further down, like if we were to draw it down here, we would probably see the inside of it, but drawing it this way, we don't. What we can do, though, is now I'm not suggesting you do this, but I'm just showing you that so this type of joint is called a oh gosh, why don't I remember this? Some of you are probably saying this in your head. Dovetail. And a lot of boxes are made this way. It's a lot stronger. So we could make a handle area right here. And that is also going to be in perspective. And I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm just, and then we need a thickness to it. And then we would probably, that's where that crossed there. So in this case, we would probably see the inside edge of the box. This is not part of your assignment. Okay, I'm just kind of showing you how this could be applied in real life. Okay, and we would actually see the bottom of this edge right here, or the thickness, and I'm just going to darken it to denote that there's a difference here. And then we could even put a little difference so we know that that's the bottom of the box, and maybe we want to do some kind of a value here to show that this is sitting inside. This is not the assignment, but I just wanted to show that now we have actually a box. These to me seem a little abstract, and this kind of goes, oh yeah, this is something I might draw, or something I might see in a why is that? Why do I keep skipping out on that term? It's because I'm drawing. So while I was teaching in prison, I had some inmates or some participants ask me. They're like, "Hey, blah blah blah, I got a question about this," and I'm slow to answer what I'm drawing, and they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I go, "It's just hard for me to talk while I'm drawing." They're like, "Oh, you're on a sick one." I'm like, what? Yeah, you're on a sick one. That means you're totally in your drawing. So okay, so in still lifes, this would make this is where I would see this, and maybe we would see the Coca-Cola right along the side here. But this is okay. So now we have this is our practice, part 1, and then we'll move to the next page to do our part 2, which is it says next, create 3 drawings of a cityscape, a home, or an interior that shows line quality, pattern, and texture. And we're using 2-point perspective to do that. And I did show some examples on the back, and I just wanted to maybe go over these. Notice that this line here is really prominent. It's closest to us. And as we look at each of these can all be kind of considered boxes. Here's that line that is closest to us. This one is going to the vanishing point. This one also is going to the vanishing point. And as we draw different features in here, like we want to put a window in, well, we would put one edge in, and then we'd draw it to the vanishing point. Okay, so it goes, and it actually changes. Hopefully you're seeing that too. Now this is boxes on top of boxes. That's an easy one. The curve is rather simple. If we go back to this example, if we wanted to make a curve out of this, what we would do once again is, let's say we want to make a curve, an inset curve, right? So let's say, it's hard to see when I don't have a clear ruler that there's, okay, so I'm drawing this box right here inside a box. Yeah, okay. And if I want to make a curve of this, I'm going to first of all find the center of it, which is going to be a little different than just measuring, because it's in perspective, so one side is smaller than the other. And then once I find the center, then I'll draw my vertical line here. And let's say I want my curve just to be maybe to this point. So I'm going to draw that, and then I can find the center of these two. And if you remember this little practice, let's say we were trying to draw an arc here. Circles they're very flat on these four points, and then they're actually tangent with the lines. So this is what we need to, that's what we're after. So yeah, okay. And then we can put that as an inset if we wanted to. Yes. And since I'm looking up at it, we would see that underneath. And maybe this does drop in that way. So kind of see what's going on here. This is like an inset. And inset here. And that's how we do the curve in perspective once again. So here we go. Yeah, so these are fantastic. I might put them up as like inspiration or to get some ideas. But I do need, I'm going to put this a little bit lower this time on my paper. This, and then I'll put my, they look better when these points are way out, even off the paper. If you can do it, like maybe tape your paper down, put a piece of tape over here and put an X, and then it just feels a little more natural instead of so forced, but this is okay. So I'm gonna just lighten this a little bit. Use my, okay, and maybe we'll work on a more of a modern building here. Okay, so Okay, this will be our first. And then these are and then, I guess we'll make a bunch of decisions about what exactly we want here. Gosh, I really like that modern building on the front. We don't necessarily have to do it exactly to that, but I'm gonna make some boxes sitting on each other and use that as kind of the basis of my architecture here. I don't know how long that is, I'm just guessing. It's a vertical. So I might have this window inset a bit. I notice this is getting to a point where there's not much surface we're seeing here, but that's okay. I'm going to put some lines in that kind of represent glass. Okay. And I might just put some, like a running slats along this side. So I'm going to do it every 1/4 inch, at least on this drawing. I don't know what that would equal in real life. But there are my marks. And I'm keeping the ruler on this X. It would be nice to have like a pin there that I could rest it against, but I don't have that. And you can see these slightly changing angles as we go down, and this is a good example of bringing in some type of pattern into our drawing. I think one more. Okay. Great. I'm going to put this line in here. Okay, so this box is hanging off to the side, so there's a gap in between here of about that much. Okay. Okay, so the question is, should I match these up? And possibly. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to match up so these kind of end on the same plane. So what I can do from here is, and I really am just kind of following this really lovely little drawing. I'm going to make this wall pop out a bit more than was done. Kind of make this a main feature on this house. And I'm going to have to make this so I can see that these match up. Okay. So then there's always the question, well, does this go like this or does it go like this? Well, you have to kind of realize where your, see this corner right here, this corner that's facing towards you, that's used as the point to draw from to my two vanishing points, and this point is to draw to my two vanishing points. So this is going to be a long, so this is the one that I'm going to use to draw to the vanishing point this way, and then this is going to be the point that the same point that I'll use to draw the vanishing point this way. Okay. So yeah, that feels correct. It feels like this box and this box are resting on one another, and both are resting against this large wall here. And then we could have a big roof like resting against on top of this wall. So I'm going to try that, and I'd like it to maybe overhang a bit. So let's see, as it gets higher up, it gets a little bit distorted somehow. So the idea is to try to avoid that. Avoid getting up too far, avoid distortion. And maybe end this here. Then now we're looking at a box from the bottom. And that unfortunately lines up, but I mean, what can you do? We can extend that, because I mean, there's not a real reason for those to line up, and it will look much better if they don't. So I'm going to just extend that a bit. And something like that. Now these lines will not kind of miss each other, and that makes it look a lot better rather than like, why are those lined up? Do they mean something? Are they on the same line? It's called a tangent, and we really don't need to. Yeah, I might make another one of these big pillar things here. So it's going to be exactly on the same line. Maybe in here somewhere. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. That's going to be the main support for the roof. Okay. And then, yeah, probably in there somewhere. Yep. This will definitely drop back into space. And then I'd like to draw a kind of a front door that's visible. That's visible to us. So boxes, kind of hiding in boxes. And then this will have, so now we have a place to stop the edge of our roof right here. And then we have we can go back with that. And actually I would like to make another box back here. So you can see how things are like sitting on and leaning up one against another. I think I'm gonna put a inset window here. So if it's inset, we're gonna see the inside edge of that, and yeah, so we're gonna see that. And then we can put a door in here. I think the door should be about here. And that's gonna go to this spot, and I'm gonna inset that a bit too. And then we can go in and make some textures on these, which I think would be pretty nice, pretty interesting. Now remember, this has to be inset a bit. And that actually should come off this line. Yeah. And there's usually a little threshold here. Yeah, we could put a knob or a handle of some kind. So then, and if we wanted to make this like a window up here, we could. That make sense? Then we can do more of this on the other side. So example 1, and then I'm going to do a quick city so you can see that for an example too. And I mean, I'll do it pretty quick. So, yeah, and I'm just going to build this with blocks. We'll make this relatively simple. And then you can add in all of the extra things you would like. So when making a city block, one of the ideas is that this is like a sidewalk and we're looking down both streets. Here I kind of messed up a bit. So our first building might be end here and maybe end here. I'm going to redraw that line. Okay, so now we have the opportunity to put more buildings in. And now we're going to be drawing this edge right over here. So maybe we make a little alleyway right here, small one. And this could be a little bit taller building. And maybe we'll do that same thing here, but maybe this one is a much shorter building. So for a taller building, we'll make it tall and narrow. And we don't have to make it go back. We can just end it right here. So there's one building. Now to make this alley look correct, we're going to have to go back a little bit in space. Okay, and this one likewise. Top of the building, bottom of the building, and we'll just make it kind of a small little spot. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. Maybe we put a very narrow building here. And yeah, and then this line would go back. So you see these little passageways going back, and then we could add in doorways. But here's the thing: when you add a doorway in, this is kind of so. Let's say our doorways are this high. Okay. So all our doorways are going to be this height right here. And see how this is larger, smaller, smaller. So yeah, so we have doorway here. We could drop it back a little bit and then see how we're kind of recessed a bit for this door. And then maybe this one is a big double door. Maybe it has a little facade on it. If we wanted some windows here, We could put those in. Okay. Something like this. And we could pop stuff out. Or we could drop things in. So yeah, so adding windows, adding doors, adding light posts even if you'd like. So let's put in a sidewalk here. And it also does go back to the vanishing point. And sidewalks are not, they're kind of rounded at the end. So we're going to round this one. We could put a curb in, maybe here. We put in a street light. And so let's say our street lights are kind of tall, and it goes over this way. Okay, so then if you draw more street lights, they're all going to be that tall, and to get them all the same height, you draw another construction line. So all your street lights need to be that height. So maybe we put one right out here. Yeah. And then we can, you actually could equispace these. I'm finding the center of this square I've created, which is there. And then I'll run that back so it crosses. And then lastly, that's where the next one is going to be. And we did this on the last video, so if I'm going too quickly or leaving some things out, please refer to the last video. Okay, so this is, and if you're drawing people, same thing. So if a person is like this tall, then wherever you draw that person, we have that perspective now. So let's say we wanted to draw someone here walking on the cement. How tall are they going to be? Well, they're going to be this tall. So we kind of get the idea, and maybe that's a little tall for our doorways. These are giants. It's a town of giants. Okay, hopefully that helps you get these drawings finished. Thanks for listening, and please email early if you have questions.